Number 1. The 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu. The 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu is the kind of classic that feels like a genuine time capsule. This example is listed for $28,000 in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, and has 103,000 miles showing on the odometer. Finished in black with a black interior, it has the classic muscle car look without being presented as an overbuilt restomod. According to the seller, this Chevelle has been sitting in a climate-controlled garage since 1983. That is a remarkable amount of time for a car to remain preserved, and it is one of the biggest reasons this particular example stands out. The car is powered by its original-style 350 cubic inch V8 with a two-barrel carburetor, and the seller describes it as running smoothly. The car has also reportedly been gone through mechanically and now starts, stops, and drives as it should. This is not a wild, big-block muscle car. Instead, it appears to be a mostly stock classic with a more original character. The Chevelle was also originally equipped with air conditioning. The seller says all of the components are still present, although the compressor clutch is currently locked up, so the air conditioning system will need attention. Cosmetically, the car has an older repaint. It was originally tan, but is now finished in black. The seller describes the paint as very presentable for its age, and says there is no obvious mud or body filler that they can see. There is some bubbling around the back window beneath the vinyl top, which the seller says is the only rust currently visible. The car also comes with its original 14-inch rally wheels and the build sheet, which adds extra interest for anyone who appreciates original documentation. In my opinion, the strongest part of this Chevelle is its story. A car that spent decades in a climate-controlled garage and has now been mechanically brought back to driving condition can offer something very different from a fully restored show car. It has the potential to preserve a much more authentic feel. At the same time, any buyer should inspect the body carefully, especially around the vinyl top, rear window, floors, trunk, and underside. Long-term storage can preserve a car, but it can also hide issues that are not immediately obvious. I would also want to verify the condition of the original components, inspect the air conditioning system, and review the build sheet and available documentation. At $28,000, this 1972 Chevelle Malibu is aimed at someone who appreciates an original-style classic with a fascinating history. It may not have the outrageous horsepower of a heavily modified muscle car, but that could be exactly what makes it appealing. The stock 350, automatic transmission, original air conditioning equipment, rally wheels, and long-term storage history give it a character of its own. For someone looking for a classic American cruiser that can be enjoyed while still offering room for future improvements, this Chevelle could be a very interesting option. It is not just another old car with a fresh coat of paint. The story of sitting in a climate-controlled garage since 1983 is what makes this 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu worth a closer look. Number 2. The 1973 Chevrolet Nova. The 1973 Chevrolet Nova is a classic compact Chevy that has been transformed into a modern LS-powered performance machine. Listed in Merrimack, New Hampshire, for $28,000, this Nova features a red exterior, black interior, automatic transmission, and a clear history. The listing shows 153,656 miles, although the seller notes that the engine was sourced from a 2006 Cadillac Escalade and reportedly had only about 50,000 miles when acquired. Under the hood is an LQ9 6.0-liter V8, equipped with ultimate long-tube headers and a competition cam XR269HR camshaft. The engine also features upgraded valve springs and a vintage air serpentine pulley system with an ATI balancer. Power is sent through a 4L65E automatic transmission sourced from a 2005 Pontiac GTO. At the rear is a Moser 12-bolt differential with 3.42 gears and a TrueTrack limited slip setup. The suspension has been heavily upgraded. The car features global West upper and lower control arms, QA1 double adjustable coilover shocks up front, and a RideTech 4-link rear suspension with adjustable coilover shocks. Braking is handled by a Hydroboost system with Willwood front brakes, while the rear retains drum brakes. The car also includes a Tanks incorporated fuel tank with an in-tank fuel pump and a new battery mounted in the trunk. The interior has been treated with POR 15, fitted with Dynamat sound deadening and new carpeting. Inside, the Nova features a B&M shifter, Dakota digital dashboard, Pioneer radio, JL audio amplifier, and MTX 6x9 speakers, giving the classic interior a much more modern feel. The seller also mentions vintage air conditioning, although the system is not fully installed yet. In my opinion, this Nova is clearly built for someone who values performance and modern drivability over originality. The combination of the 6.0-liter LS engine, 4L65E transmission, Moser 12-bolt rear end, 4-link suspension, coilovers, and upgraded brakes gives this classic Chevy a very serious mechanical foundation. At $28,000, the seller is emphasizing the amount of money invested in the build, and the parts list certainly reflects extensive work. However, a serious buyer should carefully inspect the quality of the installation, confirm that all systems are properly finished, and pay particular attention to the air conditioning installation and overall tuning. For someone looking for a classic Nova with modern LS performance and a capable chassis, this could be a very interesting build. It is not a stock restoration. It is a customized street machine designed to combine classic Chevrolet style with modern power and handling. Number 3. The 1964 Chevrolet Impala SS. The 1964 Chevrolet Impala SS is one of the most iconic full-size American muscle cars of the 1960s, and this example has a particularly interesting history. Originally built as a 409 cubic inch, 4-speed car, it now combines its classic Impala SS body with a much larger big block engine. Located in Chuckey, Tennessee, this Impala is listed for $28,000 OBO. It has approximately 133,556 miles, features a burgundy exterior with a black interior, and comes with a clear history. Under the hood is a strong 454 cubic inch Chevrolet big block, paired with a Muncie 4-speed manual transmission. According to the seller, the car starts easily, runs well, drives smoothly, and shifts properly. The car is also equipped with brand new 18-inch front and 20-inch rear coy wheels, along with new tires. These give the Impala a more modern stance while adding a custom touch to its classic appearance. Inside, the interior is described as being in good condition. However, the seller is very clear that this is not a perfect show car. The car still needs some bodywork and paint, while the speedometer and a couple of gauges are not currently working. That honesty is part of what makes this Impala interesting. Rather than presenting the car as a finished restoration, the seller describes it as a solid driver with a strong mechanical foundation that can be enjoyed immediately while the next owner continues improving it. In my opinion, the biggest attraction here is the combination of an original 409 4-speed Impala SS body and the serious power of a 454 big block. The Muncie 4-speed adds even more excitement, while the new wheels and tires give the car a modern custom appearance. At $28,000 OBO, the unfinished bodywork and non-working gauges are important considerations, but they are also reflected in the price. For someone looking for a powerful, attention-grabbing classic that can be driven now and improved over time, this could be a very appealing opportunity. Number 4. The 1968 Buick Skylark. What if you could take the classic styling of a late 1960s Buick Skylark and combine it with modern LS performance, upgraded electronics, and a completely fresh build? This 1968 Buick Skylark, located in Ravenna, Ohio, is being offered at $40,000. The car is finished in a striking candy apple red paint, giving the Skylark a dramatic appearance that immediately stands out. But the biggest story is under the hood. This Buick has been upgraded with a Summit 450 horsepower LS engine, paired with a Holley Sniper fuel system and a performance-built transmission rated for up to 750 horsepower. That gives this classic Buick a serious modern performance foundation. The car also features Doug's headers and a 3-inch exhaust system with Flowmaster mufflers, giving the Skylark a more aggressive sound and improved exhaust flow. The Holley Sniper wiring system includes a monitor, while the interior has been upgraded with a Dakota digital dash. That combination of classic exterior styling and modern technology is one of the main attractions of this build. The seller also says the car has tons of receipts, which is always a major advantage when evaluating a heavily modified classic. According to the listing, virtually everything on the car is brand new, and the seller has driven approximately 500 miles since the build was completed. The car is said to drive great. One project that is not yet finished is the vintage air system, so a buyer should understand that the car is not necessarily completely finished in every detail. The seller is also open to possible trades, including a rat rod with cash or a nice 1-ton dump truck with cash. However, the seller makes it clear that there is no hurry to sell. So, is it worth the $40,000 asking price? Personally, I think this is an interesting build for someone who wants something different from the usual Camaro, Chevelle, or Mustang. The 1968 Skylark has classic American styling, but the modern LS engine, electronic fuel system, digital dashboard, upgraded transmission, and performance exhaust give it a completely different personality. At $40,000, the buyer should carefully inspect the quality of the build, verify the engine and transmission specifications, review the receipts, and check the unfinished air conditioning installation. The quality of the workmanship is going to be just as important as the parts used. But if the build is as fresh and well executed as described, this Buick could be a very entertaining street car. It has modern horsepower, classic styling, and a unique personality that makes it stand out from the crowd. For someone looking for a classic that is both unusual and seriously upgraded, this 1968 Buick Skylark in Ravenna, Ohio, could be worth a closer look. A candy apple red Skylark with 450 horsepower and modern LS technology is definitely not something you see every day. Number 5. The 1969 Plymouth Satellite. This 1969 Plymouth Satellite, listed in Warren, Ohio, is priced at $33,000 and offers the classic look of a late 1960s full-size Plymouth. The car is finished in red with a gray interior and is listed with approximately 100,000 miles. It has an automatic transmission and a clean history, with the listing stating that the vehicle has no significant damage or problems. While the seller does not provide a detailed description of the engine or restoration work, that also means there are still some important questions a potential buyer would want answered. The condition of the body, paint, floors, frame, drivetrain, and interior would all be important factors in determining whether the $33,000 asking price is justified. Personally, I think the red exterior gives this Satellite a strong classic car presence. The 1969 Plymouth design has the kind of squared-off styling that represents the height of the classic American muscle car era, even though the Satellite could be configured in a wide variety of ways. The automatic transmission also makes it more approachable for relaxed cruising, especially for someone who wants to enjoy the classic styling without necessarily building a high-performance muscle car. At $33,000, the buyer should definitely ask for more details about the powertrain, originality, maintenance history, and any restoration work that has been completed. The 1969 Plymouth Satellite may not have the same name recognition as a Roadrunner or a GTX, but with its classic late 1960s styling, red exterior, automatic transmission, and reportedly clean condition, it could still be an appealing American classic for the right enthusiast. Number 6. The 1967 Ford Mustang Coupe. The 1967 Ford Mustang Coupe is one of the most recognizable classic American cars ever built, and this example brings a serious performance upgrade to the iconic pony car formula. Listed for $22,500 in Franklin, Georgia, this Mustang is finished in silver with a black interior and is equipped with a 4-speed manual transmission. Under the hood is a 351 Windsor V8, giving this classic Mustang considerably more muscle than the smaller engines commonly found in these cars. According to the seller, the car runs well and sounds awesome, and it has been redone both inside and out. The interior is described as very nice, and the car also features a stereo system and a clean-looking engine compartment. The seller says the Mustang has a clean title and a history involving just 2 owners, adding to the appeal of the car. However, there is one important mechanical issue that a potential buyer needs to understand. The Mustang currently uses a hydraulic clutch, but the slave cylinder is positioned too close to the exhaust. When the exhaust heats up, the clutch system can become difficult to operate, making it hard to get the car into gear. Because of that issue, the seller says the car currently needs to be trailered. The good news is that the seller also has the original Z-bar linkage, which could potentially be reinstalled to return the clutch system to a more traditional setup and resolve the heat-related problem. The seller describes the paint as a 20-footer, meaning it looks good from a distance but is not perfect up close. That is an important detail for buyers who are considering the car as a show vehicle. In my opinion, This Mustang is interesting because the $22,500 asking price reflects both the performance upgrades and the unfinished details. The 351 Windsor, 4-speed transmission, updated interior, stereo, and overall presentation give the car plenty of appeal. But the clutch issue is something that should be addressed before expecting the Mustang to be a reliable driver. I would personally want to inspect the hydraulic clutch setup, verify the condition of the Z-bar parts, examine the exhaust and surrounding components for heat damage, and carefully review the body and paint before making an offer. The seller also mentions having a video available, which could be useful for hearing the engine and exhaust sound before traveling to see the car. At $22,500 or best offer, this 1967 Mustang could be an appealing project for someone who wants a classic pony car with serious V8 power and a 4-speed manual transmission. It may need some mechanical finishing, but once the clutch problem is properly corrected, this Mustang could become a very enjoyable hot rod or weekend cruiser. For a buyer looking for classic Mustang styling with the sound and performance of a 351 Windsor V8, this 1967 Ford Mustang deserves a closer look. Number 7. The 1971 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The 1971 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 is one of the most desirable performance cars of the early 1970s, and this example is being offered as a genuine Z28 with classic muscle car credentials. Listed in Webster, New York, for $40,000 or best offer, this Camaro is finished in its original antique green poly with contrasting black stripes. The seller also describes it as having a black interior and approximately 26,271 miles shown. The most important detail is that this is described as a real Z28, rather than a standard Camaro converted to look like one. Under the hood is a mildly built 350 cubic inch small block Chevrolet V8. Power is sent through a Muncie 4-speed manual transmission to a 10-bolt rear end with 3.73 gears and pause traction. That combination should give this Camaro the kind of responsive, old-school driving experience that makes classic muscle cars so enjoyable. The car also features power steering, power brakes, and a factory tachometer. According to the seller, it runs strong and shifts great. The body and floors are described as rock solid, which is a major positive for any early 1970s Camaro. The car has an older repaint, but the seller says it still presents very nicely and drives extremely well. In my opinion, this Camaro has a very appealing combination of authenticity, performance, and usability. The antique green poly color gives it a distinctive appearance, while the black stripes and 4-speed transmission reinforce its classic Z28 character. At $40,000, the key things I would want to verify are the car's Z28 authenticity, documentation, drivetrain details, and the quality of the older repaint. A serious buyer should also inspect the body, floors, frame, and mechanical components in person. If the Z28 identity and condition are properly documented, this could be a very attractive example for someone looking for a genuine early 1970s Camaro with classic V8 power and a true 4-speed muscle car experience. Number 8. The 1973 Plymouth Duster. The 1973 Plymouth Duster is a great example of a classic American muscle car where originality can be just as valuable as a full restoration. This particular Duster is being presented as an exceptionally original survivor, retaining its factory appearance and important original features. Located in Gainesville, Florida, this Duster is listed for $35,000. It shows approximately 1,000 miles and features a mist green exterior with a matching green interior. The car also comes with a clear history and is described as having no significant damage or problems. According to the seller, this is an original mist green survivor that still retains its factory paint and original vinyl top. The car is also equipped with a 340 cubic inch V8, a 727 automatic transmission, and an 8 3/4 inch Sure Grip rear end. What makes this Duster especially interesting is the claim that it has never been fully restored, rusted out, or pieced together from multiple cars. Instead, it remains an honest survivor, something that is becoming increasingly difficult to find among classic A-body Mopars. The factory mist green color gives the car a distinctive period-correct appearance, while the 340 engine and Sure Grip rear end provide the performance character that made these compact Mopars so popular. In my opinion, originality is the biggest attraction here. A fully restored classic can be impressive, but an untouched or highly original survivor can offer something different, a genuine connection to how the car actually existed decades ago. The 340, 727 automatic, and 8 3/4 sure grip combination makes this Duster especially desirable from a performance standpoint. At $35,000, buyers should carefully verify the claimed originality, mileage, and condition of the body and drivetrain, but if the details check out, this could be a very special Plymouth Duster for a collector who values authenticity over a perfect restoration. Number 9. The 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air. What if you could own one of the most iconic American cars of the 1950s, already equipped with modern LS power and upgraded suspension, for $20,000? This 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air two-door hardtop, listed in Brentwood, New York, is being offered at $20,000. The car is powered by a 5.3-liter LS V8, paired with a new TCI Turbo 350 street/strip automatic transmission. That combination gives this classic Bel Air a modern performance foundation while keeping the simplicity of an automatic drivetrain. The engine is managed by a Holley Terminator X ECU system, providing modern electronic engine management. The car also features a 10-bolt posi-traction rear end and a new drive shaft. Underneath, the build includes a number of important upgrades, including front disc brakes, new front and rear brake components, tubular upper and lower control arms, and coilover shocks. The steering system has also been upgraded with CPP power steering, while cooling is handled by a new aluminum radiator with electric fans. The wiring has been replaced with a complete 1956 Chevrolet American Auto wire harness, which is another significant upgrade on a classic car. Inside, the Bel Air features new carpet, new front seats, new door panels, and a new center console. There is also an AM/FM sound design radio, along with a new fuel tank and fuel pump. So, where is the catch? The seller is very clear about it. The car needs bodywork and a new paint job. That means this is not a finished show car. The next owner will still have a significant cosmetic project ahead. But that could also be part of the opportunity. The most expensive and difficult parts of a project can often be the mechanical upgrades, and this Bel Air already has a modern LS engine, upgraded transmission, improved brakes, updated suspension, power steering, modern wiring, and upgraded cooling. So, is it worth the $20,000 asking price? Personally, I think this could be an interesting project for someone who wants to finish a classic Bel Air in their own style. The buyer should carefully inspect the body, frame, floors, and any rust or structural issues before making an offer. The quality of the LS conversion and the overall installation should also be checked. But if the body is solid and the mechanical work has been done properly, this could provide a strong foundation for a very cool custom build. A finished 1956 Bel Air with modern LS power and upgraded suspension can be an impressive combination of classic styling and modern drivability. For $20,000, this example in Brentwood, New York, may appeal to someone who is willing to take on the bodywork and paint while already having many of the major mechanical upgrades in place. It is not a finished car, but for the right buyer, it could be the beginning of a very impressive project. Number 10. The 1963 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz Convertible. This 1963 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz Convertible, listed in Martinsburg, West Virginia, is priced at $49,000 and offers the kind of dramatic styling and luxury that made early 1960s Cadillacs so iconic. Finished in white with a red interior, this Cadillac has approximately 78,000 original miles. The current owner says they have owned it since 2001 and driven it only around 3,000 miles over the past 25 years, mostly for parades and special events. Under the hood is the original 390 cubic inch Cadillac V8, paired with an automatic transmission. The car also features two particularly interesting options: factory air conditioning and factory bucket seats, both described as rare. The seller says this is a complete, honest, rust-free car with a solid body. It reportedly starts easily, runs well, and drives well, which is a strong foundation for a classic that is being sold as a restoration candidate. However, the seller is also transparent about the work it needs. The paint is tired and should be refinished, the factory air conditioning is not working, and the original radio and power antenna are also inoperative. The vacuum-operated trunk release needs attention as well, and the transmission reportedly has a minor fluid leak. Personally, I think the combination of original 390 V8, rare factory options, rust-free body, and long-term ownership history makes this Cadillac particularly interesting. It is not being presented as a perfect show car, but rather as a complete and honest example that still has plenty of potential. At $49,000, the price reflects the rarity and prestige of the Eldorado Biarritz name, but a buyer should carefully budget for the cost of refinishing the paint and repairing the non-functioning equipment. The 1963 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz convertible is the kind of car that commands attention wherever it goes. And with its original 390 V8, rare factory air conditioning, bucket seats, rust-free body, and long history with one owner, this could be a remarkable restoration project for someone who wants to bring one of Cadillac's most elegant convertibles back to its full glory. Number 11. The 1968 Chevrolet Camaro. The 1968 Chevrolet Camaro is one of those classic muscle cars that immediately catches your attention, but this particular example is interesting because it combines an aggressive performance build with plenty of room for the next owner to finish the project. Listed for $28,500 in Carrollton, Kentucky, this Camaro has 145,554 miles showing on the odometer and is equipped with an automatic transmission. The car is finished in gray with a black interior, although the body is currently in epoxy primer, ready for the next stage of the restoration. Under the hood is a built small-block Chevrolet V8 featuring dart heads, a large camshaft, a Holley double-pumper carburetor, long tube headers, and a 7-quart oil pan. The seller describes the engine as extremely aggressive, and based on the combination of parts, this is clearly not intended to be a quiet, stock cruiser. Power is sent through a turbo 350 automatic transmission, while the rear of the car has been upgraded with a built Moser 12-bolt rear end. The braking system is also a major upgrade. The Camaro has 4-wheel disc brakes, along with power steering, giving it a much more performance-oriented setup than many original cars from this era. The body has already received significant work. The seller says the car has had full quarter panels replaced, a complete trunk floor, and a new tail panel. The body gaps are reportedly nice and even, and the car also features a 2-inch steel cowl induction hood. For appearance and stance, the Camaro rides on 18-inch staggered torque thrust wheels and has been lowered slightly. The interior has also received several updates, including new carpet, recently recovered front seats, a full autometer dash and bezel, and a new factory-style horseshoe shifter and cable. The seller also says that all of the lights and signals work, including the dome light and even the door buzzer. That kind of attention to the smaller details is something I always like to see on a project car. The car has also been fitted with new LED halo headlights, new taillights and bezels, and other recently installed parts. There are still some things that need attention. The Camaro needs to be blocked and painted, and the headliner still needs to be installed. The seller also mentions that the brakes feel a little spongy and likely need additional bleeding after a rear brake hose was replaced. The car had also sat for several years before the current owner acquired it, so some fine-tuning may still be necessary. However, the seller says it starts easily, sounds incredible, and has already been driven on the road. The transmission is said to shift properly, and the car is described as a serious performer. Another interesting part of the history is that this Camaro was reportedly once owned by TCI Transmission and used as a demonstration vehicle for new parts. That gives the car a unique background that most project cars simply do not have. In my opinion, the biggest appeal here is the combination of performance hardware and a solid foundation. The Camaro already has the engine, transmission, built 12-bolt rear end, 4-wheel disc brakes, upgraded suspension stance, and significant bodywork completed. The biggest remaining project is the exterior finish. At $28,500, a buyer should carefully inspect the quality of the bodywork, the condition of the primer, the chassis, the suspension, and the overall mechanical setup. The brake system should also be properly sorted before the car is driven aggressively. But for someone who enjoys finishing a project and wants a classic Camaro with serious personality, this could be a very interesting opportunity. The dart-headed small block, big cam, double pumper carburetor, turbo 350 transmission, Moser 12-bolt, 4-wheel disc brakes, and aggressive stance give this 1968 Camaro plenty of performance potential. It may not be a finished show car yet, But that could be exactly what makes it appealing to the right enthusiast. With the paint completed, the remaining interior details finished, and the brakes properly sorted, this Camaro could become a very serious street machine with the sound and attitude to match its aggressive appearance. Number 12. The 1970 Dodge Charger 500. The 1970 Dodge Charger 500 is one of the most recognizable muscle cars of the classic Mopar era, and this example combines the iconic Charger body with a significant big block upgrade. Listed in Charleston, West Virginia, for $44,500, this Charger features a white exterior, black interior, automatic transmission, and a clear history. The car is reported to have approximately 77,000 miles. Originally equipped with a 383 cubic inch V8 and factory air conditioning, this Charger now features a 440 cubic inch V8, giving it a major increase in performance and classic big block character. The engine is paired with a 727 automatic transmission, while power steering and power brakes add to the car's drivability. The interior also features a tic-toc touch, a particularly recognizable piece of classic Mopar equipment. The car is finished with a vinyl top and Magnum 500 road wheels, giving it a very traditional muscle car appearance. According to the seller, this is a very solid car with all of its original body panels, which is an important detail for a classic Charger. The car is also said to run and drive great. One especially interesting part of the sale is that the original 383 engine block and transmission are included with the car. That gives the next owner the option to preserve the original components or potentially return the Charger closer to its original configuration in the future. In my opinion, the combination of the white exterior, vinyl top, Magnum 500 wheels, and 440 big block engine gives this Charger a very strong visual and mechanical presence. The fact that the original 383 block and transmission are included adds extra value for a collector who appreciates the car's history. At $44,500, a serious buyer should verify the Charger 500's authenticity, inspect the condition of the original body panels, and carefully evaluate the 440 engine installation and overall mechanical condition. For someone looking for a classic Mopar with big block power, solid bodywork, and the option to retain the original drivetrain components, this 1970 Dodge Charger 500 could be a very compelling muscle car package. Number 13. The 1972 Oldsmobile Cutlass. The 1972 Oldsmobile Cutlass is the kind of classic that proves a car does not always need a high-performance engine or a full restoration to be interesting. This example is being presented as a well-preserved survivor with original mechanicals, original documentation, and a strong history of careful ownership. Located in Canton, Georgia, this Cutlass is listed for $19,800. It has approximately 119,000 miles and features a yellow exterior with a brown interior. The car has a clear history and is described as being in good condition. According to the seller, the car was originally purchased new in North Carolina and later brought to Georgia. It has reportedly had only 3 owners, with the previous owner being a family member. Under the hood is the original engine, paired with the original transmission, and the seller says both continue to run and drive exceptionally well. The car also features power steering, power brakes, and cold air conditioning. Inside, the original interior is said to show very little wear, and all of the gauges reportedly work properly. The car also comes with original documents from the date of purchase, adding an important piece of history to the package. The exterior features quality paint that still holds a good shine, along with good chrome bumpers, dual exhaust, correct original wheels, and the original trunk liner. Perhaps most importantly, the seller describes this Cutlass as a very solid garage-kept car with perfect floor pans and a solid trunk. In my opinion, the biggest appeal here is the survivor quality. The original engine, original transmission, original interior, original wheels, factory documentation, and 3-owner history give this Cutlass a level of authenticity that is becoming harder to find. At $19,800, the car is not priced like a cheap project, but if the body, floors, and trunk are truly as solid as described, this could be a very appealing classic for someone who wants an honest, well-preserved Oldsmobile that can be driven and enjoyed without immediately starting a major restoration. Number 14. The 1955 Mercury Monterey. What if you could step back into the golden age of American automotive design with a beautifully preserved 1950s Mercury? This 1955 Mercury Monterey two-door hardtop, listed at $24,500 in Vine Grove, Kentucky, is described as a rust-free, straight, and highly presentable classic. The car is finished in a beautiful green exterior with a matching green interior, creating a very authentic 1950s color combination. Under the hood is a 292 cubic inch V8 producing 198 horsepower, paired with an automatic transmission. The car also features power steering and power brakes, making it more comfortable and easier to drive than many older classics that lack those upgrades. One of the biggest advantages of this Mercury is the reported condition. The seller describes the body as rust-free and straight, with an excellent interior. That is extremely important when looking at a 1955 classic, because finding a solid, original-bodied example can often be much more valuable than starting with a car that requires extensive body restoration. The car also features a beautiful Continental kit, one of the most recognizable accessories of the 1950s. Combined with the wide white-wall tires, the Monterey has the kind of classic presence that immediately transports you back to the era of chrome, tail fins, and long-distance American cruising. The seller reports approximately 16,175 miles, although a potential buyer should always verify the mileage and vehicle history. The listing also describes the car as having good wide white-wall tires, adding even more to its traditional appearance. So, is it worth the $24,500 asking price? Personally, I think the combination of the rust-free body, excellent interior, Continental kit, wide white walls, and classic green-on-green appearance makes this a very appealing 1950s cruiser. The buyer should still inspect the car carefully and verify the condition of the frame, floors, engine, transmission, paint, and documentation. But if the car is truly as solid and well-preserved as the seller describes, it could be a very attractive example of a 1955 Mercury Monterey. At $24,500, this is not simply about horsepower or performance numbers. It's about style, originality, condition, and the unique character of a full-size American car from the 1950s. For someone looking for a classic that stands out from the more common Chevrolet and Ford choices, this 1955 Mercury Monterey in Vine Grove, Kentucky, could be a very interesting option. The seller is also open to possible trades, which could create additional possibilities for the right buyer. With its green exterior, matching interior, Continental kit, wide white walls, and classic Mercury styling, this is the kind of car that makes an impression before the engine even starts. Number 15. The 1969 Chevrolet Caprice. This 1969 Chevrolet Caprice, located in the Norcross, Georgia area, is listed for $26,000 and appears to be a classic full-size Chevrolet with one major feature that immediately stands out: a nearly new custom-built engine. The car is finished in gray with a red interior and is listed with just 3,000 miles. However, the seller states that the newly installed engine has traveled less than 100 miles, so the current drivetrain is essentially fresh. According to the listing, approximately $26,500 was invested in the custom-built motor alone, which is a significant amount of money for a classic Chevrolet. The seller also says the car is 100% drivable and has an automatic transmission. The car comes with the title in hand, another important positive for a classic vehicle purchase. However, this Caprice is not perfect cosmetically. The seller says the paint is flaking on the hood, and the interior needs some TLC. So while the engine may be the centerpiece of the build, the next owner could still have some cosmetic work ahead. Personally, I think this car could be interesting for someone who values performance more than a perfect appearance. A fresh, custom-built engine can give a classic car a completely different personality, while the 1969 Caprice provides plenty of room and a distinctive full-size Chevrolet presence. At $26,000, buyers should carefully inspect the engine build, receipts, specifications, installation quality, and the rest of the car. The engine investment is impressive, but it is important to understand exactly what was built before deciding whether the asking price makes sense. The 1969 Chevrolet Caprice may need some attention on the outside and inside, but with a nearly new custom-built engine, a clean title, and a fully drivable platform, this could be an interesting project for someone who wants a powerful classic Chevrolet and is willing to finish the cosmetic details.